Hey, here's the little question I've heard a few times in the last couple days. What am I going to do with this PDF? So let's talk a little bit today about when you have a PDF and you want your students to do something with it, how we're going to make that happen. First of all, as we're talking about PDFs, here's one right here. It's called Copyright Matters. I'll put a link in the description below the video. It's got great answers for teachers about what you are allowed and not allowed to reproduce. We're living in unprecedented times, and a lot gets captured under that for education umbrella. But I just want to make sure that just because you find it online doesn't necessarily mean you can send it to your students and have them do it. So there's lots of answers here. If you have questions, make sure you cover your butts, ladies and gentlemen. So let's talk about PDFs. Here in this folder, I have a few PDFs, and let's talk about some of the things we can do with them. So first of all, here's a PDF of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz is in the public domain. It is past its copyright date, so it is public, free for use. So let's say, for example, I wanted my students to do some work with a paragraph from this text, and I wanted them in this first paragraph to highlight all the nouns. Well, how do I get them this piece of text here so that they can do that work? Sometimes the easiest thing you can do is highlight what's in the document. So I'm just going to click and drag and grab this text right here, just like that. There we go. And I'm going to use a right click. You can use Control C if you want. Copy. I have a document ready to go. And when it pops up, I'm going to right click and paste. And there we go. It's in my document. So now it's editable text. Students can go in. They can use the highlighter tool, which is here. They can do all sorts of things to mark it up or to work with it. So sometimes you're going to have a PDF. You're going to be able to highlight the text and get it out, and you'll be laughing. You will notice here that it doesn't go the full length of the page, because in the book, that's not a soft return. That's not just the words spilling over to the end in a computer program putting it down. It's typeface, so it's a hard return. So that's why it's shortened the whole page here. We could try right click and paste without formatting. No, I didn't fix it. Sometimes that'll fix it for you. But if you want to, if you're really picky about that, you have to go to the end of each line, hit delete, make sure there's space in there, and continue as you go along. So some people, maybe people like me, would go through and fix this because it bothers them. But the text as it is not a problem. And you can have your students work in here and highlight. Just post this as an assignment, tell them what you want to do, find the nouns, and you're laughing. Sometimes, let's go to a copy of Many Gifts. Here's from Many Gifts, grade 6. Sometimes it doesn't let me copy what's here. So as hard as I try, I can't grab this text to take it out. So here's another option. When it's a PDF in Drive or in your email, when you open it at the top, there's an Open With button. And look at that. There's a Google Docs link. So I'm just going to say Open with Google Docs, and Google is going to take that PDF. It's going to look and say, what is text? What can I turn into text? And it's going to put that in a new document for you. So it's given it the same gobbledygook name, but that's fine. And here's my document with text that I could now go in and edit. So if I were unhappy with any of the questions, I could go in and change it and make it more specific or change some of the wording. Or if you make this an assignment for students, they could go in and put in their answer. So a student might put in, students always start with complete sentences. The title of this map is, and then they could answer the question. Now you might have noticed when I put my cursor after the question mark and hit enter once, it made this weird gap. That's because it's kept some of the formatting from the PDF. It's got that line in there somewhere, but it's messed up a little bit. So sometimes when you bring it in, the formatting is going to be a little bit wonky. One of the things you can try is if you press Control A, it's your hotkey of the day, that's going to highlight everything in the document. So now it's got everything highlighted. And Docs has this little tool up here called Clear Formatting. There's a hotkey there, but I won't overload you with hotkeys today. So click Clear Formatting, and what Google does is it will eat all the funny formatting. And so now it's just got the text in there, and it's much cleaner to work with. This does mean that the font sizes and the bolding and all of that is taken out, but it also means that it's a much cleaner document for us to use now. So now I might take this. I'm going to take out name and date because Google's going to name the file for the student anyway. Maybe I'll make my title a little bigger, bold it, center it if that matters to you. And then I'm going to put a few spaces in between each question to give the student somewhere to put their cursor to start. I find that helps them. This may have been a bad example because this is not a question that students can do online, but that's fine. I think you get the idea. Okay, so that's option number 2. Sometimes you can just copy it out, option 1. Sometimes you can convert it to a Google Doc, and that'll work as well. I want to show you a few things about this converting. Here is another page from ManyGifts, and we're going to do the same thing. So this one's a table about making maple syrup. Open with Google Docs. And here's our converted document with all the text, but none of the table. So sometimes, depending on the formatting, Google just won't know what to do with it. So that's not always going to work out with you. And unfortunately, here, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to rebuild the table. So if you want them to fill out this table, you're going to have to make a document, or in this document, whatever you'd like. Taking a second to think, oh, it's going to put my cursor there. Insert, I'm going to put in a table, and then I can put in the table of the size I want, and I'm going to have to go in and put in the headings and set it up. So sometimes there is no easy solution to getting it into a document to get it to work. You could, there are some screen capture tools where you could take a picture of it and put it in a document, but then again, it's not editable, and students have to use some program to mark it up, which some of them know how to do and some of them are capable of, but we'll address that down the road. Finally, let's look at something like this. This is just going to give you fits. If it's something like this, where it's a worksheet where there's a lot of formatting, there's not a clean way that we're going to get this into a doc. So what I'm going to give you as best practice here is send this to your students. Say either print it out at home, or you can redraw it and fill it out on a piece of paper, and then take a picture of it and send that to me. If we do our open with Google Docs, it's going to be gobbledygook. It's not going to help us. I can't highlight it in one clean shot. I can highlight the one, but nothing else, because the way this page is formatted, that's its own little block of text. And I can highlight parts here, but it's really not going to turn out very nice. So unfortunately, there's no easy answer here. If you'd like to create some practice sheets like this in Google Docs that are nicely formatted and easy for students to use, and you want to distribute them to the board, you fill your boots. But otherwise, you might just be out of luck. So I hope that helps. As always, if there's anything I can do, don't hesitate to reach out.